Coming out called War Pigs. It's a number of our new LP. Hope you like it. Thank you.
I think I told you this yesterday, one of the last times. There you go.
They're lying to me now. They've been lying to me my whole life.
Bro,
Oh, Jeffy C.
what's up? What is going on, my
Welcome
brother?
everybody to the Useless Eaters Show.
Useless Eaters Show.
And let me explain that. Let me explain this whole Useless Eaters concept. We are not useless eaters.
No.
And that's why we created the show, The Useless Eaters. For
No.
all of
What
us.
that? Okay, let me. May I expound upon that,
Yeah,
my
could you
friend,
please help
Mr.
us?
Gill?
Help us with that.
Useless eaters is a term that was coined by none other than Henry Kissinger. And a useless eater is what he considered one of the elderly that is on Social Security and, getting taken care of by the state. And he goes, they're just a bunch of useless eaters. So, in other words, they just take and they don't give anything back. Well, but they've already given a lot, you know what I mean? And they're on these on the dole, so to speak. They're taking what is rightfully theirs that they'd given into, i.e., Social Security and whatnot, and Medicaid, Medicare, I should say. And but according to Henry Kissinger, in a conversation I think that he was having, I don't know if it was on the record or off the record, but it was coined by him. We're all considered useless eaters at this point by the elites out of Davos, as you can tell by just the ramping up of their rhetoric of eliminating the First Amendment and trying to control the food sources and the the digital currencies that they want to control, how you spend your money, what you eat, what kind of car you drive, when you can drive it, limit how many times you can, get on an airplane and take a vacation, all of those things. It's all about control of all of us useless eaters. So that, we kind of took, Kissinger's thing, and actually Gil came up with the name, and now we're trying to wake people up from this useless eaters mentality from the global elites.
Yes.
That better? Was that okay?
That's better.
Okay,
I
cool.
wore that shirt that FinFan sent me.
FinFan?
I wore it to the the Trump Harris debate. So it was a room full of Republicans. I got some blank stares. So if somebody blank stared me, I just walked right up to him and said, "Do you know what a useless eater is?"
It's you and me, buddy. That's what I would say. We're all just useless eaters, my guy.
So remember
You know?
how Hillary got up and called us all deplorables, and we said, "Yeah, I'm a deplorable." F you.
Vin
So,
fans in the house. He's already saying, I'm eating meat, my guy. Yes. Hey, listen, I did the vegan thing for a little while because, I saw one too many of those, what's it called? Documentaries on Netflix. And one day I just woke up and I did it. I said, I'm doing it today. And then I figured out some stuff and I learned how to cook vegan food because vegan food is really fucking boring. And I started a YouTube channel and everything called Plant-Based Bro. And my tagline was, if you can read, you can cook, bitch. Let's get to work. I did a couple videos. Maybe we'll have to dig them out of the archives, Gilbo, and throw them up on the channel. So when I was just doing the gig economy thing, and that turned into me chefing for a couple of other places. And I'm a executive chef at a place right now, and it's all good. So, but I'm not doing vegan. I'm not doing the vegan thing. I think it's all part of the PSYOP to get us off of, to keep our carbon footprint lower. If we stop eating so much, dude, there's some, I sent you some clips. I don't think and all of them made the show, but these people are just starting to piss me off. They're just starting to piss me off. Dude, as a matter of fact, there's one clip we got to play. It's from Alex Epstein, who, if you're not following him out there, you need to. He's a really sharp guy, and he's like, he's got the an argument for fossil fuels, and he's 100% correct.
Is that's not the Alex Newman clip?
Alex Newman. Well, he's actually at Congress, and Alex Epstein. He's talking about energy prices and how they just drive everything, and fossil fuels are a cheap form of energy. And can you really call them fossil fuels? I mean, technically, there's that. Yeah, that's him right there. Play it.
I'm very grateful today to share with members of both parties my analysis of what I call government-dictated green energy, which is the essential energy policy of the Biden-Harris administration and of much of today's world. The basic idea of government-dictated green energy is that the government should force us to rapidly reduce our use of fossil fuel energy and replace it with so-called green energy, mostly solar and wind, such that we reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 at the latest. All the energy-related problems we have experienced in recent years, which have been a lot, so high gasoline prices, higher heating bills, higher electricity bills, and unreliable electricity, which is a huge problem we need to talk much more about, are the result of government-dictated green energy. And it's very simple. When you shackle the most cost-effective and scalable source of energy, fossil fuels, and you subsidize unreliable solar and wind that wouldn't otherwise be competitive, energy necessarily becomes more expensive, less reliable, and less secure. So the truth is that government-dictated green energy policies are fundamentally responsible for all the energy-related costs we experience today compared to a decade ago. And in fact, it's worse than that, because were it not for these policies, energy would have gotten considerably cheaper and more reliable, especially with lower natural gas prices, which should have lowered electricity prices. Instead, they've gone up. And it gets worse. Since energy is the industry that powers every other industry, by making energy more expensive and less reliable, we make everything more expensive and less reliable, which means government-dictated green energy drives price inflation.
Yeah, that's it. All of our inflation, the underlying cause is this whole green energy scam.
Scam it is. Again, I always say the same thing. When somebody starts talking seriously about, say, nuclear energy, maybe I'll start listening to them. But until then, no. You're all making money off of these stupid things, and all of that money is being spent in China. We're ramping up their thing because that's where all of this stuff is manufactured, all of it. And not only that, the way that they're mining the minerals for these things, these rare earth minerals that you need for all of this stuff, is a crime against humanity. There's a book called, I think it's called Red Cobalt. It's like blood diamonds. You know what I mean? And how they mine the lithium and the cobalt and all these things you need for these solar panels and the windmills and the whole 9 yards. And that doesn't even get into the fact on how much fossil fuel derived components are needed to build a windmill, i.e. concrete, i.e. the tractors to dig the holes for the base of the windmills and all of the other junk that goes with it, man. And let alone the fact that you cannot, not even talking about the fact that you can't even recycle these things when they go bad, because they go bad. Nobody knows what the fuck you're going to do with a solar panel that they say has a 20-year shelf life, which it probably does not. You know, from what I've read and some of the studies I've read, solar panels lose their efficiency if it's over 78 degrees where the sun's coming down on them. Bro.
We're way over that here.
Bro. I mean, the roof of my house was probably 145 degrees this summer. You know what I mean? With this heat that we got. Yeah, which was climate change. I'm sure it was climate change why we had a hot summer.
Well, speaking of climate change, what about this hurricane? Check out this first clip.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Tonight, an unfolding catastrophe in Asheville, North Carolina. Homes and buildings swept away by raging floodwaters that have submerged the town.
It's beyond anything I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Parts of the town not underwater, completely cut off.
Somebody on a Facebook post said something about having to fly out of Asheville because you can't drive out of Asheville.
That extreme.
Yeah.
With no power and no cell service, crowds formed outside this hotel, one of the only places in town with working Wi-Fi.
We've been just trying to get on as much as we can and either get an email or a text out and just let everybody know that we're okay.
We met up with Cindy Tran. Her forever home, a self-described oasis, ravaged by the cresting French Broad River nearby.
The water came up so quick, halfway up to the second floor. We thought the way it just kept rising so fast, it was going to get to the second floor, so we had to get out.
A similar scene in the town of Chimney Rock, virtually wiped off the map by floodwaters.
Chimney Rock's gone. Flying Bridge is gone.
Meanwhile, the heavy rains triggering a massive mudslide that washed out this stretch of I-40, a major highway connecting western and eastern parts of the state. One bit of good news, two dams that were in danger of collapse, the Nolichucky and Lake Lure dams, now appear to be okay as water levels slowly recede. Helene's flooding rains bringing devastation to Tennessee as well. In Irwin, the scene of this dramatic rescue. Patients and staff rushing to the roof as floodwaters engulf the Unicoi County Hospital. Boats and helicopters converging to quickly get them to safety.
I was very concerned that we was going to lose the hospital.
In South Carolina, crews dug this tree off a car. Strong winds leaving more than 1 million people there without power. Back in Asheville, residents resorting to kayaks to get around flooded streets as they figure out how to move forward.
Are you okay?
I will be. I'm every now and then. I was fine yesterday, believe it or not, but now, like today, things have been settling in and I just can't stop crying.
Although the water has started to recede, the damage is already done, and with more potential rain in the forecast, people here just don't know how much more they can take.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are caught off guard. I've heard from a reliable source there's been at least 2,000 flood claims already filed.
Well, I believe that, but also you got to take into consideration, the tinfoil hats came out on this one too with the HARP satellites and all that. So I'm not diving into that rabbit hole.
That's immediately what came to mind. I saw I don't remember if it was on X, but somewhere where they were showing all this weird stuff on the radars.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, yeah, I actually did some clips, but I decided to set them back aside. That Brennan clip where he talks about, strategic aerial,
stratospheric aerial injection. Yeah.
Stratospheric aerial injection.
Yeah.
That they can do all sorts of geoengineering things. And they did it even back in the Vietnam War.
Well, dude, yes. Yeah, they did. They wanted to flood out the jungles with the cloud seeding and whatnot. So yeah.
Could they direct this at some Republican states?
Well, there's people that are saying, with the HARP satellites, they can. And actually, there was a guy who I watched on the last big hurricane. I forgot what was it. I don't even remember. Anyway, it was not that long ago, and he had the satellite footage. Filmed the satellite footage, and he goes, "Okay, and here's where the HARP satellites are. Notice how it just automatically goes around. They pushed it around it. They pushed you can see that the hurricane completely went around where the HARP satellites went on. So I don't know if he was trying to pull some kind of energy pull or something like that to see if they fired him up or whatever at certain point. Dude, it was crazy. And it's just like, listen, they've got the technology to do a lot of stuff that we don't even know about. I would not be surprised if they, use the weather to do something nefarious if they can control it, which I think that they can do certain things with it, not control it entirely, but manipulate it for sure. 100% for sure.
I think Trump's going down to Georgia tomorrow to, bring some attention to what's going on down there.
Well, good. And then don't forget to smash that like button. If you're watching and you haven't yet, please hit the like button. Just throwing that out there. I'm going to throw it out there repeatedly. Likes are likable. They are likable, and we do like them. So,
and I totally get what FinFan's saying in the chat, because I kind of agree with that. Like, let's use what we have. Let's be successful. Let's get prices down. Let's get inflation down, and then hey, let's take some extra money and go invest in some of those other technologies.
The unproven technologies, and they got to bring them along a lot better. I'm getting sick of seeing these guys post these videos of these windmills just going around and around and around. You see a big old bird of prey get whacked and killed. Not a small one either, like, condors and eagles. You know what I mean? It's just, and they're an eyesore. They don't work. They use a lot of fossil fuels to get up and running. And then they're filled with oil, for the gears and whatnot. They're filled with oil and then they leak. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you guys, that's not the way to go. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not the way to go. Unless you're going to fill them up with seed oil. Like, if you want to use canola oil for that, as opposed to, a petroleum-based thing, let's use that. I mean, we can get the seed oils off the shelves, and the people that are tripping about the seed oils right now that we cook with, and, put them in the fucking windmills. I don't know, dude. It's driving me crazy, this whole thing. Because it's a money grab, dude. Plain and simple. It's a fucking money grab.
Well, yeah. I mean, I forgot how much they said they spent on those 8 charging stations, like billions or something. And they don't even have, like, where's that money? Don't tell me.
Yeah, who made the money on?
So speaking of liars, I like this reporter here out of Australia.
Now, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have been accused of deliberate misinformation. They've released a political ad that claims to depict 2 former Trump voters who live in Pennsylvania and who have switched to Team Kamala after the horrors of January 6. But this pair of farmers shown in the ad appear to, in fact, be 2 actors, Robert Lang and Christina Chadwick, and they have an extensive history of donating to the Democrats and leftist causes dating back to at least 2016. For a party that talks endlessly about the dangers of disinformation and misinformation, they engage in plenty of it.
Yeah, so this is great investigative journalism by the journalists that went and found that out. I think it's another illustration of just what is a very synthetic campaign and a very synthetic candidate, where everything is manufactured, from her anointment after Biden was pushed out to just the way the campaign is being run and very limited media, as we just discussed, and then creating sort of these canarratives, or almost fictional narratives, of these 2 Trump supporters who turned, supposedly in this case, and it turns out they're Democrat actors. You can't make this stuff up, and it's pretty brazen. But the question, of course, is, will these antics make it into the mainstream or not, with a media that's very favorable to her? But to the extent that it does, I do think things like this are damaging, because it just goes to that point that she's not a very authentic candidate.
You think?
Yeah.
Who was that chick? The other chick wasn't Australian. There was that was an Australian report on Australian TV, clearly, because the anchor was clearly Australian, but the other one, she was not. I did not catch.
That's my first time seeing her.
Yeah. Who was she?
I don't know.
Whatever it was, they called it out, and they, I mean, again, how much? I don't believe a thing that comes from the. I don't believe a thing that comes from the Harris Walz campaign, and I don't believe a thing that. I don't believe these polls that say it's as close as it is. You know what I mean? I don't buy it. There's just I don't see it on the streets. I don't see it. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. I do have some friends of mine that are all Trump supporters that are like saying, I don't know, man. I don't know. I go, why so black-pilled, bro? You actually believe any of that nonsense? I mean, guys like Alex Jones, who I'm going to, hope he's right again. He says, dude, Trump's going to win by a landslide. He goes, but Alex Jones has gotten to the point to where he's just like, I'm not even worried about the election. I'm worried about the 75, 76 days between the election and the inauguration. That's the problem. That's the thing he's looking. He goes, there's just, all indications that I see and hear and everything is like, she's not going to win. They're doing everything they can. Unless, of course, they take Trump out, between now and then, which I don't doubt that they've got some kind of a plan for that. He's still out there in the public, man. I mean, I'm with him and Tucker where they're saying, dude, bunker down and do freaking Spaces events all the time. 2 a week, 2 or 3 a week. Just bunker down, live your best life in freaking Mar-a-Lago with your gorgeous wife and your, staff, and have Elon over, have Alex Jones over, have Dan Bongino come in, have freaking Sean Hannity come in. Have Tucker come over, you know what I mean? Or just do the stuff live, man. He doesn't. Well, I mean, then again,
Nicole Shanahan in for an interview.
Yeah,
I watched
man.
a few hours of her last night. Like,
she's great.
Right. She is great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's also been red-pilled though, man. I mean, she was knee deep in the tech world with being married to the founder of Google, and I mean, she put up $100 million to this, AI thing and that thing and all this other stuff. So she was knee deep in it, but all of a sudden she's just like, wait a minute. I mean, I don't think she agrees 100% with, and I don't think I agree 100% with everything Trump says. You know what I mean? I know I don't. But it's like he's the clear choice compared to the alternative. I mean, if you can have people like RFK Jr. and Nicole Shanahan seeing that, and Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, and these common sense people that are out there, and then you got these fucking asshole cuck rhinos like Jeff Flake just came out and said he supports. I mean, appropriate name for that guy. The former Arizona senator, I think. But, I mean, who cares about Jeff Flake? Who cares about freaking Mitt Romney? Who cares about fucking Lindsey Graham? Nobody. They got to go.
Tulsi Gabbard was saying at that Save the Republic event today in Washington, D.C., she's like, a vote for Carmella is a vote for Dick Cheney.
100%.
It's like
100%. Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney. I mean, does anybody that is paying attention, does any conservative really care what fucking Mitt Romney thinks? No. What freaking Dan Crenshaw thinks? What Mark Cuban thinks, who's coming out of the woodwork now? They probably offered him a cabinet position or something, man.
Yeah, there's something.
Or he was at a Diddy party.
Yeah, there's something making him go out, and they got something on him because he's acting crazy.
And fan, maybe those actors did do some BlackRock commercials. Uh-oh.
All right, so this is Anderson Cooper and another reporter, and they got nothing to say. I'm not sure why they didn't have much of a comeback here, but
well, Anderson Cooper and was it Van Jones?
Oh yeah, Van Jones. Here you go.
Be no love for me or Republicans for Kamala Harris today. In fact, I think the Trump campaign line today ought to be arsonist returns to scene of crime. I mean, look at the last 3.5 years. We've got the border has effectively been open, people flowing across. ICE today released information that there are 13,000 non-citizens convicted of homicide and almost 16,000 non-citizens convicted of some kind of sexual crime who are in the country right now. Only because we're in the shadow of an election is Kamala Harris trying to rush and pay some lip service to this issue as a tactical matter. Anderson, I don't think Harris should be trying to elevate this issue because this is the best ground from which Donald Trump has to fight. So, no, I think the Harris campaign is making a tactical mistake, and I think they have very little to say that the American people are going to buy on this today. Anderson,
Scott?
it's worse than that. It's not that it took them too long. It's that they actively worked to undo everything Donald Trump had done during his time in office. On the first day, they rescinded all of Donald Trump's border executive orders. The floodgates opened. All these people come rushing across. Then it becomes a political problem. And now at the end of the election, they want to blame it on Donald Trump. For her entire career, she has wanted a more permissive immigration structure. When she ran for president before, she wanted to decriminalize border crossings. In her heart of hearts, she wants a more liberal, permissive immigration structure. And in his heart of hearts, Donald Trump wants to crack down on the border. That's why when you look at the CNN polling this week, Trump is far more trusted on immigration than Harris. That is not going to change because of this visit today or anything she says today. The die is cast on this issue. If I were her, I'd want to bury this issue, not make it more prominent. But hey, if she wants to have border events, I think Republicans will rejoice because it'll increase the prominence of this issue for the last month of the campaign.
Boom.
They had nothing. There was like,
Well, I would like to see that whole clip I'd like to see that whole bit, that whole segment in context, man, because I'm sure Van Jones is a very, very crafty orator, and I'm sure he had some things. He was there shaking his head. No, was that Gretchen Gretchen
No.
Carlson,
I don't know.
the blonde
I don't
ex
recognize
box
her.
chick? Yeah.
I
Anyway,
gotta do a little
I
more
want to see that
research.
whole clip. I'm gonna have to find that because if that was Gretchen Carlson, what the hell is she doing on CNN?
That,
She was.
that couldn't have been Gretchen Carlson.
It was
She
Gretchen
did look
Carlson, bro.
somewhat familiar.
That was
Was
Gretchen
it?
Carlson, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Well, looked like her, but who cares? The bottom line is that the guy brought up every valid point, and like I said, I'd like to just watch that whole segment just to see. Was that from the Sunday Talkers today?
I think
Probably
I got
because
that.
she just did it. She just did it, and it was
I
Anderson
think I
Cooper.
grabbed that up last night.
Yeah, he might have been on his Friday night show because she was there on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, she has no leg to stand on when it comes to that. And I can't believe people are actually, I watched her press conference after the after her little stint down there, and everything that came out of her mouth was just bullshit, man.
Well, it was right off the teleprompter, so
I
it was
mean, not that.
canned and-
We're a sovereign country, okay? I like how she does that. We're a sovereign country, right? And dude, she is the biggest, fakest. I don't know. I can't listen. I said it before. I said it on the last transmission. I said it. You seriously need to get your head checked if you actually think that she's a better choice than Donald Trump. I don't care if you like Trump or not. I don't care. From what I understand, he's a pretty cool guy to hang out with. That's what I've heard. I got my boss that I work with right now, the executive director at the facility I work at, who is like my direct report, used to work for Donald Trump in the gaming industry back in the frickin' 80s and 90s, right? In the 90s. Yeah, he worked in, wherever he was on the East Coast, right? He said, because we were talking about politics one time, and I say, hey, man, I'm full on Trump, and I don't want to offend anybody because, some of the, people are not that MAGA where I work with. And he goes, I ain't got no problem with Trump, man. I used to work for the man. He's a good man. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I didn't know you worked for Trump. And he goes, oh, yeah, dude. He was a casino host. So he probably directly, when he's dealing with the whales, you know what I mean? You know how that can be. But anyway, cool guy. He said he's a good guy to work for. So, and this guy's black. Go figure. Trump the racist, right?
Nah, he's the working man's man. That's who. Trump
Yeah, well, it seems like the the true conservative, not the rhinos, man, not the Rhino Party. The Rhino Party, the Mitt Romneys, the fucking Lindsey Grahams, all those guys are just a bunch of knuckleheads that need to get and Mitch McConnell. Bye-bye. What's that guy, the Texas senator, what's his name? John Corcoran, whatever his name is. He's a joke too. It's a pathetic mess on both sides of the thing. And again, I love the clip from Ice Cube that I saw on Reels that my now wife, sent to me. And it was him talking about the You know, how the Democrats are blue. It was Ice-T, not Ice Cube. If I said Ice Cube, it was an Ice-T. He goes, the Democrats are blue, the Republicans are red, man. He goes, you know what they are? They're the Democrips and the Blood Publicans, man. They're all a bunch of, he said, they're all a bunch of gangsters. They're two wings on the same evil bird. There ain't no difference in most of them. You know what I mean? It's the Democrips and the Blood Publicans, man. I mean, they are. And you know, that brings us to, you know, Kash Patel's book, Government Gangsters, and he's right, man. They're all cut from the same cloth, bro.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're gonna like this next one. He's cut right from that cloth too.
So tough. Everybody's wrestling with that right now. And I think the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard to govern today. You can't, you know, there's no, the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact have kind of, you know, been eviscerated to a certain degree. And people go, and that people self-select where they go for their news or for their information. And then you just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And you know, there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, you know, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, you know, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, you know, hammer it out of existence. So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, you know, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change. Now, obviously, there are some people in our country who are prepared to implement change in other ways, and that's really
So he's basically, I mean,
if John
there's only
Kerry
there's
had a
only
hammer-
one way to look at what he was just saying. He goes, they're not buying our bullshit. We need to stop these people that are challenging the bullshit agenda that we're pushing through. The only way we can do that is to eliminate the First Amendment. Elon Musk is the devil. He's allowing these people to say whatever they want to say based on whatever facts that they found wherever they found them. Well, guess what? Fuck you, John Kerry, you Herman the Munster-looking motherfucker.
If John Kerry had a hammer, he'd take it to everybody except for who he wanted everyone to get their information from.
Vin Fan said we need a lightning bolt to hit him in the mouth. That'd be fun to watch. But anyway, yeah, I mean, can you get more blatant about your thoughts on that, bro? I mean, for real. It's like, now that we have more than just the four major networks, you know, we had what? ABC, CBS, NBC, and then Fox got big. And that was about it. You got PBS, you know, you had those things. That was it. The Mockingbird media could control that a lot more. That's basically what he's saying. The CIA can control that a lot more. We can control the narrative a lot more. But now there's just too many options. And now you got people like Alex Jones, and you got people like Steve Bannon, and you got people like Dan Bongino, and you got people like, even on the left, I mean, I don't even know if I would consider him too far left anymore, Jimmy Dore. There's people that have an audience that are speaking the truth. We can't have that, man. We got to stay in control of all of these things, bro. We got to stay in control of it.
Consensus means you're all following the Pied Piper.
You're a sheep. Consensus is the sheep are following
How about
the
we
Pied
get to
Piper.
consensus through debate? How about we get to consensus through, like, talking about all the different
How about if
ideas?
we get to consensus through transparency, my guy?
Yes, there you go.
How about that? How about you just tell us what the fuck's going on? How about that? Tell me what's going on. And let me make my own decision based on that. Tell me all the bullshit. We all are adults here. We can handle it. If you can't handle it, those are the people that are just, not paying attention. And there's a lot of those too. But for those of us that are paying attention, how about some transparency, bro? And then we can have a consensus. And then we can take that transparency and share it with our friends. That's all.
I like that thinking.
That's it.
All
That's
right,
it.
We've been
You can't,
streaming
but you can't have that with guys like John Kerry.
No,
Who's
because
who's
it's too difficult for me to govern if I can't be the king.
and Al fucking Gore and all these knuckleheads that want us to be eating the bugs and living in a box and 15-minute cities and digital currencies and climate change and all this fucking nonsense, man. Come on, bro. Sorry. My bad.
All right, we've been streaming on YouTube and X, and now we're gonna
yay.
go right and be only streaming on our Rumble channel. So those of you that have been watching on X or on YouTube that want to continue the show, come join us at the Useless Eaters channel on Rumble.